Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this new live stream, coffee break live stream. I am Vincent from Adobe Substance 3D, and we are here for a special tool that I made for Substance 3D Painter. This is a weird day, a weird hour for me, just because, to be honest, last week I had some technical issue with my PC. Basically, my hard drives wanted to die, so I spent the week backing up all my data and making some stuff on my PC. So that's why I made it today. Anyhow, for the next weeks, in 2 weeks, it will be back to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, either in French, Spanish, and English, but a bit later compared to before. So it should be about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. GMT time. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write them down in the chat or just say hi in the chat. It's always cool to talk with you. And let's see, I'm going to share my screen right now directly. Okay, so the tool I'm going to talk about is based on the 3D Path tool that we have, a feature that we have released last week, and which is a blast, honestly. It allows you to do a lot of stuff. So first of all, I'm going to make a really quick introduction to it, in case you don't know it. I really encourage you to go in our Substance 3D YouTube channel. There is a full tutorial made by Emily, who made a great demo to how it works. But I'm going to make a really quick one. So if you want to use if you want to use the 3D Path tool, you just have to create like a painting layer like this one. And now, if you have the latest version, you can see that you have this small icon here, which gives you access to the 3D Path tool. So just click on it, and now you have this nice new icon. When you click, you are going to make a point, and if you do 2 points, you get it. You are going to make a line, and within this line, the line is filled with the material, the selected materials. So if I make a third one, you can notice that it makes a nice curvy path. If you don't want it to be curvy, like you want straight lines, you can double click on the point like that, or you can select a point here, like this, and here you have the option to do the same, but double click is way easier. The cool thing is that it's non-destructive, which means, let me move a bit my face here, like that, and like that. Oh, I'm hidden by my own logo, so I'm going to put like this. Okay, so the cool thing is it's completely non-destructive. First, the path is non-destructive. You can move it. You can add some point by clicking here. I'm going to click. You can remove some point by just deleting them, so this is cool. But also you have access to all the material parameters and brush parameters, which means that I can change the color at any point. I can also change the size, of course, with the brush parameters and anything related to the materials. And one of the cool things that if you have complex brush, that's like the Kyle's one, for example, like let's say this one. Well, let me reduce the size here, but you can really play a lot with everything which is there. So that's not something people think directly, but yeah, you can paint and have a full control on what you paint. That's crazy. So now this is cool with a regular brush. We also release few ones which are specifically designed to work with Path tool, like one made by my friend and colleague Guillaume Meyer, which is the stitching one. So this stop stitching tool. So if you work in fashion industry, but not only, if you're a character or even product design, interior design artist, you can use this to make like super top quality stitches. So once again, you can move it, and you have a lot of options. You have the classic stitches here. So there are all these one, like the zigzag one, for example. Let me make another point. By the way, you can also close the curve, the 3D path like this one. So you have like a lot of options here. You can once again change the size. You can go into the parameter to change everything. You have like some fancy one, decorative one here. Hello, Christopher Dutch. Christopher, who is from the team and who worked really hard. One of the brilliant minds behind the design of this tool. Tell me if I forget anything, Christopher. So yeah, for the stitching tool, once again, it's by default within the tool, and it's super great. There is also a tool that I work for, which is not in the release. It's more for time constraint. There is still some stuff to fix on, so it was better to release it outside, and some stuff that weren't fitting with the QA requirement, which are great, of course, but there was some stuff that couldn't be changed. So this tool is called the Shutline tool. So if you want to download it, I just put a link within the description of this live stream, so you can use it. So far, it's a Google Drive link. I'm going to upload it on Substance 3D asset, a community asset soon. But first of all, I want to tweak a bit. There is some stuff I want to arrange. So let's see how it works. So first of all, once you have downloaded it, you just have to drag and drop it. It's a SPPAR file, which is the tool, Substance Painter tool files. So drag and drop it, say you want to keep it in your shelf, and that's it. So I type shut, painting shut line. Tweak faster, I can't wait. So this one, it is this one, so I have it. So first of all, new layer, maybe I will take a car, it will be fancier. So discard this. I'm going to take the X-Town car model, which is like the Substance car. If we would have a superhero, he would use this car. I'm just going to decrease a bit the subdivision count. Okay, so now it's smooth. And I'm going to create this layer. As you can see, the symmetry is on by default, so I can draw. I'm going to make sure I have the 3D path tool selected, and I'm going first to make some points here. So 1, 2, and 3. So once again, by default, it's the base color, base material, which is there by default. But if I click on my painting shut line, it will update, and as you can see, it creates a nice smooth curve line, a shut line. So it's called shut line. I'm going to explain why. This is something that a name that comes from the automotive industry. I had a conversation with my colleague Pierre Maheu, who worked with on the Substance 3D team, and who has a great experience with the automotive industry. And every time he said, you know what, a tool that would be cool would be a shutline tool. So I say, what is a shutline tool? So explain me. He told me, generally in automotive, the car designer will build first a model like this one in plasticine. It's called, just to get the design of the model. They are mostly looking for the shape, of course, and also the main lines, etc. But at some point, they also have to think about adding some doors here, or air entries and details, and they want to do this without necessarily cutting directly. First, they are going to use tapes, and then maybe they are going to skirt. So he explained me that if we would have that, something like that in Substance 3D Painter, it would be great. So I made one a few years ago, which was extremely simple, basic, and as we had the 3D Path tool that was coming, we said, okay, let's do it again. So that's how it starts from. So my objective was to make a tool that had really smooth and almost perfect curve. So there are a few options. We're going to look at them here. So first of all, you see that there is a specific alpha that works, which makes sure that the transition is extremely smooth. Then in the material, you have this parting short line material. Actually, I made a new one, I think, this one. So I'm going to update it right now. It will give the same, but there are a few differences, bugs that I fixed, which are not in the beta version that I gave you access, but soon you will have access to it. So let's look at the options. So it's a dynamic stroke, basically. As we said, this 3D Pass tool can use the existing tools, materials, brush of a Substance Plus 3D Painter. So if you look here, you have the attributes. So I explain what it's made for. Then channel mapping, we don't care that much. It's just in case you want to remap. In that case, I don't recommend it. Dynamic stroke, it's not used in that case. This dynamic stroke allows, for example, to draw specific patterns depending on the context, generally of the numbers, for example. That allows you to create a gradient, for example. In that case, there is nothing. But I made a version which supports gradients that I will release later on. Not first because it's a bit heavy, and there is also some optimization to make on the Substance 3D Painter side. But that's really cool. It allows you to start with, let's say, a blue color and finish to a purple one, for example. Then we have some presets. We are going to see them after. And you have some options. The first one is the crease or peak option. Crease is if you want to have a concave shot line, or if you want to have a convex one, internal or external. So if I click here, like this, you see that it does the same, but the way around. So that's a great way to do. I'm going to disable for now the material so we can really focus on the result, like that. So I have another one, which is to have the round start and end, starting ending. So if I click on it, you see that you have this nice start and ending like that. This works great, but it's not compatible with one option, which is the symmetry offset that we'll see later on. It was creating too much artifacts. By the way, just so you know, this live stream will be divided in two parts. The first one is the presentation of the tool, so you know how it works. And the second one, I will show in Substance 3D Designer how I build it. It's a bit more advanced, especially there is like some math and stuff like that. I won't get too much into the math details. I just want to explain the logic of how I built it. But still, if you are not a Substance 3D Designer user, you may be interested, but you may cry some tears of blood as well. So let's continue. So overall intensity, well, that's an easy one. You just choose the intensity of the height map. Pretty easy to get a clean control of the result. If you want to go deeper, you can say, yes, but what if I want to go deeper? The maximum here is defined in the shader parameter in the displacement and tessellation. So by the scale here. So I put it to 0.02, which is way more than enough. It's really sensible. You can see that I can really get crazy with that. So, and I'm just at 0.1. I hope one day we'll maybe make some values which makes more sense, because it's, if you're really quick, it's too much. So 0.02 is fine in that case. Then you have the internal external contribution. Once again, the idea is to build some nice curve profiles like this to make the shot line, and I want to give the maximum control to the final user, especially for people who works in product design and automotive. They are extremely picky with the result they want to achieve. So the first one, external internal, is actually I divided my curve in two parts. So from the center to here is divided in two, and there is the external part and the internal part, like this one. So I can decide which is influencing the most, which contributes the most. So if it's the external, you see that the external curve is going to, well, almost take all the place, or you can do the contrary, like the internal is going to get up to representing the full range of the curve. So by default 0.5. Symmetry offset, let me do something like this one. maybe so we can see. Symmetry offset, well, it allows you to move from one side or another the curve. So once again, it may be useful depending on what you are building. It's really up to you. By default, it's 0. Then you have the sharpen external edge. So here you see that it's really smooth. You have an option to make it way sharper with this one, of course. And you can make also the internal edge the same way, so to get something really flat. All this jaggy stuff is because the subdivision, I kept it a bit lower. If I want more details, I can add more, but for the sake of stability, because I'm live streaming, let's go back here. Like this. So it's jaggy in that case, but you can also add some more resolution in your mesh at first. This was quite optimized. So we have these two sharpen tools, so I'm going to put them back to where they were, like that. And you also have like a flatten tool, which, well, flatten the curve so you get something really flat. Not exactly the same than sharpen, as you see. At first, I had also a parameter which was to put the gap at the bottom, but finally, after discussing with the team, it was a bit redundant with the sharpen internal, because I was able to create this gap, so it was making double usage. So it's a good lesson to learn when you build tool. Try to reduce as much as possible the number of parameters to make sure just the relevant one are useful. Sometimes it's really tempting to try everything, to add like 50 parameters, but it just scares people at the end. Activate bulging. So this is something that has been asked by my colleague Nicolas, who had a great experience in product design, and he said that the bulging effect, the fact that, I'm going to put myself here, you know, when you cut something, there is like a compression at the place where you cut, and there is like a kind of, well, bulging, it's called, an accumulation of material just at the edge, and they say it would be, it's a detail, but it would be great to add it. So, well, I spent a bit more time and I added that. So if you activate it, you see that it creates like a small, it's really subtle by default. It really just put the edge, the external edge up. Of course, I can increase the intensity. I can change also the offset of it. Let me, here it will be easier to see. So you can really create some precise element. Of course, there is a limit on the width because I have to respect the width of the brush itself to create all this. But once again, this is something that we can, if you need a wider one, you can as well, and it gives you like results which can be interesting actually. This one like can be used in something else than just automotive, in my opinion. Let's continue. So first I'm going to reduce again, like that. And deactivate bulging. You also have the material properties, so you can change, let me apply again the materials. Color, metal, roughness. And here first, well, you can change the color. Of course, you have also a material extent parameter, which lets you decide how the material, up to which point the material is applied, and also the transition. Is it smooth or is it sharp? You have the roughness parameter, matte or shiny, and you can make it metallic. Like that, for example. So that's about it. You can also select a custom shotline profile. So if you don't want to build it by hand and you want to rewrite, you can say, okay, I want custom shotline. So by default it's black, so it's at the bottom. But here I can go here and look at whatever image you want to use for profile. Let's see that, and build your own stuff. So my idea also as well in the future is to build like a specific tool just to build some crazy profile like this one. But once again, whatever image would work. Like, let's see something like that. Yeah, most of the time when it's repetitive, it already creates something like this. By default, it takes just a line or two of this. So you see that? Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is how it works. Now let's see some of the preset that I made. If you want to create a second one on the same layer, you just press escape and you click in another place. I'm going to diminish the size. Hey, Jared. Oh, yes, thanks. Yeah, each time I forget. So, did I show the bulging? I think no. So just going to the bulging, 2 seconds. Selecting the line, bulging here. So if I activate bulging, I'm going to hide this. It creates this kind of effect just to add like the accumulation. Thanks, Jared. And you can choose the offset, and I show that you can also apply material. So you have like, I'm going to activate the channels, and on the material you can choose how much it extends the material, and the smooth extend like that, and the smoothness. If it is the transition smooth and sharp. Cheers. Where are you from, Jared? Tell me. Talk to me. So let's go back here. I'm going to create, I created a new one. So escape, I'm going to select it. And now we're going to see the presets. So the presets, I make some of, by default, some that works from, cool. Works from automotive first, but they can be used somewhere else. So first, the shotline tool. Like the main shotline is something like that. It's like as if you carve within the tool. So I put just a black color at the black matte color at the as a material, so it looks as if it's cut. And now let me adapt a bit this. For example, let's say I want to make, let's remove this point and add a new one. So you can define the shape, and if you want to see the result without seeing the curve, you can just deactivate it temporarily. So you see how it looks directly. So now, but if you want to make a second one, you have to reactivate. I'm going to make another curve with another tool. So first, let's do this. So by default, it's the same. And now I'm going to look at the tape shotline matte. So the tape is just a tape like this one. I think I have a small bug on this one because roughness, is it selected? Yes. Yeah, it shouldn't be that shiny. Second one that I have is tape shotline glossy, and that's where there is a small bug because just this should have changed to matte glossy. So glossy should have been like that, and matte, well, more matte. Another one that I did is the lateral plastic bar. So for this one, I'm going to make a new one. So let me delete that and create a new from here to here, for example, just to make a lateral plastic bar. So I take this and it makes a bar. It makes a bar like this one. You can change the height properties to make sure to here height, replace maybe. before I had like a microphone disconnection. So yeah, you have this bar like this, and well, you can change whatever. Once again, this is completely non-destructive, so I can go here in properties and say, okay, I want this bar to be metallic, the color to be something like that. Another one that I did, oh, by the way, something that you can do as well, although it's a curve, you can still take the eraser and remove a part of it like that. So if you don't like the end, just delete it like that. It's not specific to my tool, it's any tool. This is cool, actually, to think that, and still have the control. The only thing is this part, if you move around this, this will be a deleted part. Okay, another one. Go back here. Let's make one here like that, for example, and choose the groove inset line. So groove inset line, more for product design. This is a really sharp, clean line, cut line, let's say. Really useful for product design once again. If it's too intense, you can once again play with that. You have the burst flush profile. So all these name comes from product design or automotive. This one for product design. So once again, this is something that goes in. Flush gap. Once again, same than the previous one, but there is this this kind of curve that we didn't have in the first inset line. Oh, this one is, well, it's an easy one, but injection. I'm going to disconnect. So you say, okay, what is that? Actually, for this, I have to reduce the size of the brush to something like this. So it's just to represent like the line where there is, you know, that separates when you make a mold. Between the two parts of the mold, there is this plastic line, and I'm going to show you something at the same time, you know. So this is this kind of line, you know. Something that you have to think about here sometime is here. When the projection here, you see, is because the curve goes inside, so the projection cannot go that far. So you just click on it, and it will put a point, and the curve will fit better. If you have question, Christopher, I guess you don't have question, but Jared, if you have question, don't hesitate. Okay. Finally, I'm going to put it back to something bigger size. I'm going to remove this curve, so mix like that. Go back here, and I think the last one is my favorite because no one asked for it, so that's why I made it, of course. Yeah, the spike line. So the spike line, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to create a new line. So let's do this, and the spike line, well, it does something like that. That make a nice spiky line. So for a car, it can really work well. In that case, I will benefit from a feature, which is that you can change the pressure for any point. And the pressure is generally can be linked to the size and the stroke opacity. So if I diminish that, you can now make it fade in a really cool way, giving something way cooler. And once again, playing with this and the size, you can, oops, I go too far. You can really get some really cool stuff like this. So this offers you way more control than just painting and making a line. You make the line, and well, it works or it doesn't. You have to Control Z, do it again, etc. Especially profiles like mine. I'm not an artist. I don't consider myself as an artist. I'm more technical guy. So yeah, it would have taken me hours just to make one line like this. Here I can make the line, apply the material, and then adjust position, strength, etc. And it's priceless. So now we are going to see how it's done. So this was the presentation. Once again, this is going to get a bit technical. I hope you like that. Sharing my screen, moving my face to a decent place. Here, for example. And let's start. So this is the graph that controls all the parameters. So if you look here, right, you are like my technical assistant on this live stream. Yeah, sometimes I don't know why it's just cut. I have to find the reason. If someone knows, I'm interested because that's not the first time. So as I say, this is how it's built, and the main thing that we are building here is the height map. This map here. The rest I can make the color, etc., but it's just reusing the height map to apply the color and make some masks, etc. So there are different ways. I wanted to build, as I say, a nice, smooth, perfect curve because automotive and product design are extremely picky for good reason. So I say, okay, how do I do that? So to build a curve like this one, there are different ways. So if I take, let's say, for example, a gradient 2, like gradient linear 2, and I'm going to make just a rotation on it like this, and I'm going to use it as a height map here. So you just have to right click, drag and drop, and it will ask you, okay, how do you want to use it? So I'm using it as a height map. As you say, it's extremely big right now because it's the other one was half of it for a reason, half of all the grayscale values. Here it's a full from black to white. So can reduce that. But yes, let's use a lever. I'm going to reduce with the lever. I'm going to put this, the maximum value, to 0.5. And let's use it once again as a height map. So now you have something that compares a bit. So you can say, okay, I may want to work with this, but the thing is I don't have a lot of control. I have a nice curve, so I can say, okay, I can add a curve node here, which is nice because if I play with it, I can change the profile, etc. But once again, it's cool in Substance Designer, but it's not really, that's not really controls that you can expose for the final user. And furthermore, you are just like eyeballing, you are trying to adjust, but there is nothing precise here, let's say. So can be useful in some cases, but not this one. So I say maybe, okay, I can add maybe this with the blur. If I use the blur HQ, grayscale, so I can control once again like that, and maybe changing the intensity. But once again, yes, you have result, but no precision. So I decided to skip and say, okay, let's be mathematical on that. There is no choice. So to be mathematical, it means that you have to use a node which is maybe the most advanced one, the pixel processor node. So what it does, it allows you to create some logic, some mathematical logic. So I say, okay, fine, I will use this, but first I have to discover this mathematical logic. So remember a bit of my math from the college, and I say, okay, so if I want to make some curve, well, curve, it means first circle and also sine, cosine, and stuff like that. So I say, okay, let's go into it, but I didn't know where to start. And I say, oh, you know what? I'm going to find on internet there should be some graphic calculator, and I found a website which is called Desmos, desmos.com. And which is exactly that. It's a graphic calculator, but the way it should be. So what it does, you see, you have the coordinates. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, which interests me because actually in the pixel processor I can work with 0, 1, 0, 1, except that here the 0 is bottom left, in Designer is top left, but except this, that's the same. So I say, okay, I have that. So now how do I do? How it works, it really works like function. So if you know a bit about function, even if you don't know, it's really easy to guess. If you do, for example, y equal x, well, y equal x, super easy. If I do y equal to x, well, you have the one you want. If you do y equal if x, I think, oh, sorry, I'm going to remove that. Like that, you even have like some function. So if I want y square of 2, you start to have a curve. So interesting. That's not the curve that I want because, well, square of 2 curve is not that I want a circle one. But still, it's a good start. You can think also about sine, cosine. So there are some examples here. That's the good thing. So I said, okay, let's go trigonometry. Let's be scared. So you have like the unit circle first. That I think that's the first one I look, because this one cosine, etc. You can see like here. You see in blue you have this operation. So to draw a circle, x square 2 plus y square 2 equal 1, and it draws you this. So that's a good start. You can also define some variables directly here. So that's cool because that's variable that I may use in Substance Designer. So once again, interesting. Here they show some other stuff, etc. There was another one that was interesting me, which was the wave, period, wave, trigonometry. Amplitude, I think this one, period of amplitude. So here they gave this one that I used actually, a cosinus 2 px. And the cool thing is with this one you can define the scale, and with this one you can define the amplitude. So I think this one I was able to use it somehow. Anyway, after playing, discovering, trying, failing, discovering again, I saved. Am I connected? Yes. I had one. What is mine? New word blog. Did I lose it? Atom recovery. Thank you. I got one like this one that interests me a lot, because I actually have this curve and this curve. So with this, it's a bit the way around, but with this and this, I can build. Let's go back in Painter. I'm going to reset that. Okay. Okay, I can build something like that. Okay, so that's exactly. So what I did here, I really thought this curve in two parts. So 1/4 of a circle here and another quarter of a circle here. So that's how I started working. And now when I work on that, I'm moving my face here this time. So now I say, okay, I have to find a way not only to find this curve, I found it. So basically with the green, let me hide What do I hide? This. With these two, the red and the black one here, or red and blue one, these are the curve that I can that I need, because I just will take the value from 0.5 to 1, and here from 1 to 0.5, and I organize them. This, I would say that was fine, but then after I started to play with that. So, but first let's see that. So this is really math that you have to find. The cool thing is you can play with it and you have the direct results. So if you want to organize you just have to play and you have like direct feedback. So a bit complex right now that I see it, but after a while it's easier. So let's go back in Designer. So here to organize, I went here. And this is most of the magic happened here, as I say. So here I can put a custom shotline custom profile, Control E to go in, and here you have actually this convex emboss and this concave emboss. So this is the two that I show you, the one that does like that and the other one that does like that. I'm going just to put back. So yeah. So here, convex is this one, and concave is this one. So what I do here, I had to make some division, but I take the position. From this position, I am just calculating for each point in X. I don't care about Y. When I optimize it here, for example, here I show it like this, but at the end I will put it like this, because I just need the horizontal value. I don't care about Y. So here, after taking the X position, I made here a specific function that is just here, that just replicate how to calculate to get the position to get a convex curve. So once again, I did it in Desmos and I replicated it. So this is something that will end up at some point as a specific node, I guess, just to create this kind of curves, because it's really useful and you don't want to build from scratch anytime. So I won't get into the details, but yeah, that's it. Suppose X, you power of 2, 1, so 1 minus suppose X power of 2, and you take the square root. So if you look here, square root of should be this one. I had to adjust to fit so it fits in the Substance 3D Designer coordinates. I made another one from concave that I didn't use, because basically what I did, I just inverted it, flipped it, and it was working the same way. Watch out, I have to redo that. Default. Edit. So go back here, getting back here. So yeah, so here, this is how I build the convex, and here how I build the concave. So once again, I replicated the math, lots of trials and error here. And then what I said, I said, okay, now I have to define where to make the transition between the two. And if you remember, I have a parameter here, which is called external internal contribution, which decides where the external, so the convex, is starting, and where is ending, and where the other one is starting. So this is taken in account here with this top button. At first I called it top button because I didn't have the option to flip it outside. Right now I should rename it external internal. So I just do 1 minus top button, and here there is a if condition. So you say, okay, if X, the position X is lower than this value, then you pick this curve. If not, you pick this one. So that's how the transition is made. Also, I made something else. There is here a way to straighten the value. So once again, if you remember here, I have a flatten parameter, which is here, which allows you to get this nice result. If you look here, I made it on these two, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so if I put that to 0, so here I have the value. And if you look at this curve here, this part, on the right, you see that if I moved it, no, I was wrong. I mean, the green is for the first part. I wanted to flatten in, let's say, natural way. So I got the help of my colleague Cyril Dames, who is a great mathematician. And he told me something which is not that great. I mean, for him, it's way simple. Even for me, it should be, but that was a good reminder to make an interpolation between two functions. And I wanted a flat one. I wanted between this and that. So he told me, oh, that's fine. You do it this way. You take the first one. I think it's the k. So that's why I have the k is the flat one like that. So I make k equal 1 minus x simply, and then h is going to make an interpolation. So it reminds me how to do that. So you take that minus 2v multiplied by dot fx, the one that make the curve, and it will make the transition. But it told me it will work mostly for the first part. So I make the same one here with gx, but for the second part. So this one is the contrary. So now I can have a flat one with this part and this part that make a smooth transition. So this is replicated here in the graph. So I just take the value 1, I think it's 1 here minus x. So it's exactly, it's like y equal 1 minus x. And here I make I take the flattened parameter, so which correspond to this value, this and this. Actually, I combine them all in my case, so it flattened the same way. And here combines here. If you have any question in the chat, if you want to cry, it's okay to cry. You can do that. So this is where I do the transition between curved and flattened. And finally here I have the custom shot line. Once again, I say if it's custom shot line, then showcase this simply, the straight one, because I just make a straight and it's the shot line that will make the rest. If not, well, use sample the, what did I do? Okay, here. If not, just use all the math that we have done here. Oh, a mosquito, I want to kill him. I'm living in Barcelona. This is the mosquito season. It's horrible, but that's fine. We will survive together. So let's get out of this. So we have something. So here I build the main curve, but as you can see, this is just half of the curve that I built. So how did I build that? So I used the gradient dynamic. That's a really useful node, and I use it with a gradient linear. We are going to get into that in a moment. But first, I'm going to explain how the gradient dynamic works. So basically, gradient dynamic, you can enter one value here. Noise. I'm going to use Berlin noise. And here, Christopher, there is a UX error. So I'm going to show you. Look at that. Here I say, okay, I'm going to drag and drop them. This is something that can take either color or grayscale. So if I do this, I should expect to be able to get grayscale. If I do that, and I say gradient linear, it's not there, Christopher, there is a bug. I'm going to say to the designer team. So here I have to do gradient linear. Let's say 2, for example, and I'm going to make a small rotation. And here in the Berlin noise, let's diminish it. like that. So now what it does is basically it say, okay, from black to white, I'm going to apply this color, which means that when it's black, in that case, it's gonna take black. When it goes to middle gray, it will take white, and then when it goes up to white, it will take black. So it gives something like this. Okay, why not? It starts to get interesting if you improve and add more. You can see that the gradient is repeated a fairly amount of time. So that's cool. That's a nice way to reapply, to apply a new gradient value, new grayscale value on a gradient. Hold on. So in my case, what I will do is I will use this gradient linear 3, and I will explain why I took the 3, make some modification and reapply on this value. So this one, I'm going to apply this. So it's look at the value of black and white and reapply my newly made curve profile. So why did I take the gradient linear 3? First, for a good reason. Linear 3 is that it has a position parameter. So if I go here, I have this position parameter, which allows me to change where is the highest value. And I guess you get it. It allows me here to play with the symmetry and to readjust the symmetry almost for free. So that's cool. Oh my God, my cat wants to enter. So give me 1 second. Okay, my cat is here. My cats, I'm not sitting here. So if it's moving like that, there is no earthquake. It's just my cat who decides that he loves a lot my screen. So let's continue. So gradient linear 3, really useful for this. Here I just added 2 histogram scans just to allow to change the contrast of the map. And then with this mask, I don't know if you see, there, I have a cat here. Just work from home. So here I made a mask, and here is just 2 histogram scans that control the contrast, and this allows me just to sharpen external and internal edge. If it does not break anything, I will be super lucky. I'm going to disconnect my Wacom because I decided this is a great place to be right now. So yeah, this allows me to play with sharpen external and internal edge. Okay, let's reselect again. And here you go, you can sharpen. So this is how it's done. Now let's continue. So I'm just blending the two together. Nothing special here. So I have here, I reapply this gradient as I explained. Then here, yeah. So if you know, I just use a lever here to put it between 0 and 0.5. Why? Because the 0.5 value of a grayscale value on for a height map in Painter, that's the neutral value. So that's how I got a smooth transition between what already exists and my shot line. Whoa. So yeah, if I would have put 1, it would have meant that this would have been outside and then inside. Not what I want. Okay, so here I made like another pixel processor to make the bulging effect. So basically, to get this double curve here and here. So what I did once again is first I made half of it here. So really easy. Well, really easy. It's just math once again. I took the position, multiply by p. I can control the frequency just to show you. I'm going to put this in this here as the height map. Okay, it's a bit wide, but you get an idea. Don't forget that here, thanks to the gradient linear stream, this one I don't need. I just reapply the same symmetry. Actually, I use it twice because I make it once to make one bulge, and this I use another one, which is the same than at the beginning, because I want to apply the bulging effect on both sides of it. So it was just a bit of fine tuning, but it works well. So in the pixel processor, I added some parameter. Once again, I made the function first here in Desmos, I don't know where, and then, but it's derived from a sine cosine, if I'm not wrong. You have pi, I don't use sine. Here, that's where the magic happened. So I added some stuff in case to get some control. Here, I would say that it's useless. Here, I could remove that right? Multiplication by 1. It's not a big deal. But it was in case, for example, if I put 10, you can control the frequency like this. And for sure, I'm pretty sure I will convert this is a single tool because that can be useful, honestly. Horizontal move here. So if I change this, I can create some offsets. So yeah, it gives like this wavy effect, but you have to think about it's really moving horizontally. It's almost hypnotic. It was 0.5 by default, yes. And then here you have the amplitude. So if I play with the float here, value is 1 and you can define to reduce. So yeah, this would make a great tool by itself. Okay, so just making this, I created the bulging, and then here I have some options. So first option that I have is, okay, do you want to apply the bulging? So I have a blend node, and here I have an opacity channel, so I can define first the intensity of the bulging. So how much the bulging is effectively applied here. So if I activate, you see here you have the intensity that define the intensity of the bulging. That's controlled here. Then here I have a switch with the actual activate or not the bulging. So do I want to use it or not? It's here. Sometimes you have to read upside down. So it's here, and then here you control the intensity. And somewhere here within that, I think you will control the direction of the bulging as well. And now you're going to see that there is this that doubles. Why? Because this is for the height map, all this stuff, and ambient occlusion as well, because it's derived from the height map. And here it's to generate all the masks that will be used to make the base color, roughness. As you can see here, there is also a converter, so it works also with the specular glossiness. But here what I did is also that. So this is the same here and here. We're going to look at that. So this was a tricky one, and actually I had to use a joker from that. This joker is called Nicolas Verman. Because I wanted to make like a perfect, take this value and make it to a perfect square like this one. That said, I had some issue and I was on the right path, but what I had to do is use a Cartesian to call polar coordinate. So if you don't know, you have a Cartesian to polar grayscale, this one. Where is it? I had something selected, so let's put it again. Cartesian to polar here. So by default, I'm going to put that here, but you see that it won't work because I will say relative to input, not to parent. Okay, so I just have to make a small rotation here. I assume maybe I'm going to make a relative to parent just temporarily. Okay, let's do like that. Okay, so I have to make a transform, rotation 90 degrees. And here you say, I got something that could be interesting, but I don't have any control on that. So I say, okay, let's rebuild that in a pixel processor. And I started, I was on the right path, but actually I made a mistake. I used the Cartesian to polar coordinate of one of these nodes. I said, because you can enter in and say, okay, let's use that. But actually it was one which were made for a 3D object. So that wasn't working at all. There was too many information. So this is how it looks. This is the Cartesian. And once again, few math is just to pass from a referential between 0, 1 to referential between -1, 1. Then Cartesian to polar. And here, Nicolas added a bit some more magic. So you take the position, if it's lower, just take the max value and apply it. So you get this directly, this value. It's just repeating it like that. So yeah, I made it the cleanest way possible. Once again, just to show you. I made a small transform. So why do I do that? This is the start and end. Well, start and end, which means that here, when I am using this round start end, it's using this one. So now you may say, okay, but how does it know that it has to put it here? This is thanks to a specific variable. It's almost a hard-built one. I mean, because it just works for Painter and you cannot improvise on this. So this is called the stem stroke position. So if you want to control, in some case, the stem at the start or at the end and in the middle of either a dynamic stroke or a 3D pass like this one, you have to use this. Basically, how it works is that the ID 0 is the middle one because it's the default one. Something that is used is if nothing else is defined. ID 1 will be the first stem and ID 2 will be the last stem. So here what I did, I use a multi-switch grayscale. So just to show you something about the multi-switch grayscale, something that I think we did badly is, as I said, the idea are 0, 1, 2 for the stem stroke position. So first of all, here I created a specific variable. So if it's this one. Actually, it won't be visible in Painter. This is really, as I say, a hard-built one. So when you see that, you say, okay, I'm taking the control on that and I'm hiding it for the user. But by default, it's an integer. You put a default value of 0, a minimum value of, even if its default is not important because it will be overwritten by Painter, minimum value of 0 and max of 2. So you have to think that here we are in a 0-based ID mapping. Meanwhile, here multi-switch start, it's 1, 2, 3. So 0 will correspond to 1. Here 1 to 2, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3. So here I have 3, 1, 2, 3, which correspond to 0, 1, 2. So if I go within that, it's fairly easy. You see that for the input selection, I'm just putting that. I say, okay, if first round start end is activated, then you say that the stem stroke position +1 to fit with the, whoa. Someone will tell me that I forgot to share. So I'm sharing, sorry. As I was explaining here, the value is starts at 1, meanwhile, the stem stroke position start at 0. So once again, going back here. So I say if the run start on parameters is activated, then what you do is the stem stroke position, you return stem stroke position +1. It says you will return 1, 2, or 3, depending on the case. If not activated, well, you just return always 0, the one in the middle. What it does is, if it's not activated, it will return this one. the flat one, let's say. If it's activated and we are in the middle, same, if we take this one. If we are at the start, it will take this one, and if we are at the end, it will take this one. So this is useful for 3D pass and stamp strokes position, dynamic brush. Then here I just have an invert grayscale here with a Swiss grayscale. This allows me to control if we want crease or peaks. So as a reminder, reminds me if we want crease or peaks, which is here, inside or outside. I think for this we are good. Here, ambient occlusion, nothing crazy. Here, just a realignment. I think I had to play a bit with that. Let me check. Height range, so this will control position, height position. Why? I can't remember why I did this one. Have to check. If I look at the parameters, should be one of these. It can control the intensity maybe. Then here, as I say, I'm making the same stuff, and I'm generating a mask to apply the material. So mask generation, you have somewhere, I think maybe histogram scan, some parameters to control the extent, and here a blur grayscale to control the smoothness. I think I call it like, yeah, material edge smoothness. So it's just a blur. Then I make an auto level to make sure I'm covering all the range. So there is no bad transparency, unwanted transparency. Here I just have uniform color to control the base color. Another one here, I think I make a blend. This one may not be useful anymore. This is just a conversion from metallic roughness to specular glossiness, and here I'm just building the metallic. So here you have like uniform color, and here you have one for the roughness, which are both exposed. And this is how I build all this stuff, this tool. So that was a lot of stuff. 2 different levels, as I said, this was a specific one. One to present the tool, which, well, it's just easy to use. And then I wanted to show all the work that it would involve underneath. As I say, I think I'm going to extract some of this, some parts of this graph to make some dedicated tool. I think it can be really useful to create some curves, specific curves. And I think I'm going to play a bit more with Desmos as well, desmos.com, or any graphic calculator, to try to build some interesting curves. That's really a great way to me. It's a bit tricky at first, but it allows you to get exactly the kind of curve you want. So I hope you like this live stream. In 2 weeks, if everything goes well, we'll get back to normal days, which are, well, in English, the Thursday. Should be 6 p.m. GMT time, Paris time, or a bit later because it's vacation here, so I may be able to do it later as well. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for being here. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ping me in the chat or on Twitter, Discord, wherever you want, LinkedIn as well. Meanwhile, hope you will get a good week, and we see you in the next live stream. Bye bye.